All right, let's take a few minutes here and talk about today's webinar. So we are going to be talking about Event2Mobile, which is one of our products from the parent company of WebSpiders. The reason of our presentation title is 2016 because most of the event managers that we talk to today, which is in March of 2015, are already in the planning stage for their 2016 calendars. The session is being run by myself. My name is Kavita, and my colleague here who's with me called Shannon.
Hello, everyone.
And so I'll go right into the next slide. Key takeaways, you've already heard me speak about it, but we're going to be talking about the various touch points that you can use mobility to engage your audience at an event, how event apps are actually quite beneficial, new technology that's coming into the event application stories, and of course, if you are an event organizer, what are the partner benefits that you can have by becoming a partner with Event2Mobile. Some of our clients that we'll also touch about their various case studies when we get into the fag end of the presentation. Most of the brands should be quite familiar to you. If you're interested in knowing what we did for a specific brand, please drop us a message and somebody will get back to you with a detailed case study. So we wanted to begin our presentation with one of our favorite quotes from none other than Steve Jobs. It's basically, the rapid change in which technology is moving, sometimes it's important to note the fact that if you are not upgrading onto the next technology, you are actually dating yourself to a certain age group or to a certain time. So events, now to put it in perspective, events that are still using a certain format of, distributing content to their end users, they may be doing the event year on year. They might be having one this year. But if they're still using an older method of doing it, they are making themselves very 2010. Or in some cases, as I like to tell my clients, they're making themselves very 1999. So this is basically the presentation focuses around how you can change and upgrade yourself at a level where your events are very current. The reason we are talking about 2016 is at this time, many of our clients are already in the preparation or planning mode of 2016. So it's a good time to consider mobility as your 2016 tool. I'll hand over to Shannon and he'll just take you through some of the next slides.
Okay. Hello, everyone. So as we can see, back in the old days, in events and conferences, there are many heavy guidebooks and printouts that has been distributed to attendees, and quite often it's very heavy and there's so much last-minute changes. So again, the challenges that we see is first on the organizer side is if there's any last-minute changes, it's very difficult or almost impossible to make. And on the attendee side, it's like a needle in a haystack, trying to get valuable networks in that conferences or events itself. The people who you might actually mingle and interact with, they may not necessarily be the one that you are trying to reach out to. So again, this is back like what like what Kavita mentioned, back in the 1990s or in the 2010, where it's very difficult to actually get value out of attending conferences or events. So now going forward, we see with less printouts and less sheets being given out to actually attendees, what we see is actually a lot of ROI and a lot of value in going green with apps. We see a lot of returns on investments. Like people, when they actually attend events, they can actually find out who are they trying to reach out to just by simply going into the app, finding out the list of people, the contact details, even prior to attending the event, and they're able to actually reach out to them. More importantly, resources available within the app itself. They're able to get visibility on that, as well as finding out who are the speakers and the sessions, the track sessions that they are going to attend to. So again, there are many organizations, when they see mobility nowadays, they see value and they see the high returns in actually sort of embarking on this journey on the mobility of, especially on event apps. And we see that happening a lot of times.
So reiterating the fact that, there's always been not a very smart way of handing out printouts and, creating a lot of carbon footprint when you're talking about events and how much brochures material that gets printed out. Later on, we will talk about a case study with Singtel where we created an event with 1,500 people and absolutely no printed brochures. However, we do get asked many times is that why should an event organization or an event owner implement an event app when the previous formulas have been working very well? And though today we've listed just 10 reasons, we as evangelists for the particular product can talk about multiple events depending on the focus that you have within your event to see how that will benefit you. One of the major benefits that we've always talked about is that if your organization is running multiple events, let's say you run 6 events a year, you can actually deploy a single app in which all your events can be integrated, and that allows you to mine the data across your delegates and also lets you promote events across the board to different delegates. Now, anybody who is running multiple events will know the pain that you go through when you are trying to do this. You know, the fact that you will be managing multiple databases on lists and trying to get attendees to cross over to another event or even to get some value proposition to your sponsor. It allows, of course, for streamlined planning if you are integrating one app across your multiple events. And one of the biggest takeaways with event apps has not just been the content distribution, which you can do easily. That has been the first generation of the event industry, but it has also been the interaction and engagement that users go for. So for example, I've just come back from a very large event which had 33,000 attendees in the US. Now to even connect with 50 relevant people at that event would, like Shannon mentioned, would be like a needle in the haystack, but I was able to connect to relevant people because I started using their app prior to the event, and basically I could shortlist which are the delegates that I really need to meet. Of course, not all delegates will respond to my request, but at least the relevant ones did, and the event value is there for me. Imagine going to an event that big and not being able to connect with what you want. It is highly frustrating experience. And the reason we are able to understand the event experience is that we ourselves attend close to 15 big events every year. In fact, one of our key members is at the Facebook event, which is happening in San Francisco, and we are getting updates as to how the app is being functioning there and things like that. And of course, there is the whole concept of integrating social media today. You see a lot of sharing is actually happening via LinkedIn. When it comes to professional sharing, it is happening via Facebook when it comes to personal sharing. And though in Asia, Twitter is still kind of picking up, we still see a lot of events still tend to attract a decent amount of tweets today. And that's something that we are looking at more and more events leveraging from. If you are extremely conscious of analytics, and that's something that will help you tailor the experience of the user at your event, then live analytics is also something that event apps are able to help you, which would not have been possible if you were using something which was very traditional or a slightly older model where you're actually going out and doing manual surveys. And coming to manual surveys, again, if you've been in the event industry for more than a decade, you know exactly the pain that manual surveys bring, and the fact that most of the sponsors and marketers somehow have a big regard for data that's collected that way. Imagine you could convert all your surveys and polls into a mobile app. And I don't know about you, but if you've really been noticing people, at events, you would see 50 or 60% are actually buried into the phone. They're, even at the conference when they're listening, I wonder, whether the phone, email versus the content being distributed are fighting for attention. And that comes into the audience retention, because then instead of fighting for attention in a real and a mobile world, you're also being able to present yourself within the mobile world. Of course, a lot of additional features are there. Event2Mobile has been rated as having one of the easiest content management systems to use. Today, we are being deployed by the Fortune 200 companies in the US, including organizations such as Charles Schwab, Wells Fargo, McKinsey, Bill and Melinda Gates Foundation, purely for the fact that we understand how large events and large organizations work. And that brings me to point number 9, which is actually a separate webinar altogether, which is the data security element that we bring in within an app. So if you are an organization for whom data security within an app is an extremely critical factor, that's again something that we can do. Now, of course, if you are a newbie with event apps, we always have to understand you will be wondering on the ROI. So if you're going to spend X amount of dollars onto an event app, how is that going to return benefits to you? I think if you just compare printing costs, that in itself would be enough to give you ROI. But if you add in all the additional benefits in terms of the engagement that you bring on board, in terms of the fact that delegates would be interested to come back to your event the next year, the fact that your sponsors would be happy with the data that you share with them, and also with the fact that it takes away a lot of pain that we normally have when it comes to content distribution. Imagine the post-event data distribution that happens. You have to send out slides to 600 delegates and with various email configurations and things like that. You can actually just do it on the app and let users download it. You can get quick analytics as to what was the popular content, who is generating how many leads, and things like that. The potential is endless, and the good thing is that because we are the original developers of the product, we are able to integrate it within any existing CRM system that you might already be using. So moving forward, we are also looking at things and how does an event app work? Because of course, there is some gray area as in how the various event apps look and work and things like that. So like lot of other levels that you feel like, there's CMM maturity level 5 and things like that. We've tried to break this down into a very easy to understand infographic, and this is something we can spend a couple of minutes on, and you can identify which level do you fall under. Are you at level 1? Are you already using something? Are you at level 2 where you are looking at engagement? Are you looking at level 3 where social is an important part for your organization and event? Or are you an enterprise which is looking at a different level of social and data security? So these are based on this, you can actually identify clients based on this, as in, most of the first timers are put at level 1 and level 2. Sometimes it is just level 1, that is our flagship app, and sometimes it is level 1 and level 2 when you are looking at the integrations as well. If there is any element in this infographic that you do not understand, feel free to put it down as a question, and we can come back to that during the question and answer session. Some of the interesting features that have excited many event planners have been our photo wall, which is basically an Instagram-styled photo tool that you can upload onto a common board. You can have common screens around the venue and allow people to upload their photographs onto that. One of the other features that work very well is the live Q&A. We've experienced that in Asia, we are very hesitant to actually ask questions during the session itself. So you will see very moderate involvement of questions, but somehow if you put an interface on which a person is able to type the question out, the engagement increases manifold. So our Q&A system is probably one of the best that comes in the event app space, where you're able to you have a moderator section and you have a display section that displays the questions right up on the big screen. We have multilingual capabilities, which is again a big plus. We've done multiple apps in Chinese, and again in Chinese as well, we've done in multiple versions. We have a very good way of integrating your own branding. So our event app, Event to Mobile, doesn't run with its own branding when it is designed for the end client. It runs with your branding. So you can actually get a sponsor to sponsor the entire event app and give them the entire branding of the app. And then in itself, you've managed to set off the entire cost of the app. So I'm moving on from the screen, but at any point of time, if you have any questions, you can actually find this infographic on our website, which is event2mobile.com, and you should be able to get the information, what you need from there. So I'm just going to move into a quick round of what are the attendees that they really want. Now this data has been sourced from Amex, which is the American Express Meetings and Events. They do a lot of work on that, and we will be talking about this. And this is insights actually. We've seen, they want the event schedule. They of course want the session descriptions and the keynote address and how to place themselves when they are at the event. But one of the most important things, and we've mentioned it at the last point here, is that they want to connect with other delegates and speakers. So this is something that has been over the years, earlier it was a soft benefit of an event, but somehow it has now become the driving force as to why attendees really come to an event. And that is one of the reasons why we have been developing a meeting management module, which is within the app itself, and allows you to connect with the delegates and speakers really easily. Again, you can set caps as to how many messages a person sends out and what is the level of engagement that is happening. But imagine that the engagement is already starting before the event is physically launched. So if your event is on the 6th of April, you can launch the meeting management module almost a month before that and allow people to interact with each other and set up meetings, etc. Now, sometimes people also tell us that, I don't want to expose my delegate list. So you don't really need to expose the delegate list. You can limit the delegates' interaction within the app, and you don't actually have to share the data of the delegate directly, except and make it like an in-app messaging tool. Of course, passing the mic, we already talked about the question and answer tool. Passing the mic is no longer something that you, like a 2016 event should even have. It should be very fast. It should be done via the Q&A session during the event itself, and it should also allow people to take on board the questions and things even after the session is finished. So it doesn't limit the interaction with the speaker and the delegates just during the session. Especially, if you have a very prominent speaker, you tend to have a lot of question sessions going on coming in after that. So Shannon will just take you through the social media integration slide.
So for social media integration, which is an additional feature, it actually allows the ability for delegates to actually get connected to each other, and it's in this way, they can share ideas and share posts, as well as it creates a lot of social buzz even before the event starts. So I think a lot of visual content that's been shared to actually increase the hype of the event, and also to create more user-generated content, which is very important because rather than having an event or conference being one way, we also would like increased engagement between attendees and delegates. And this will actually increase the exposure of the event, pre and post event coverage. So again, in terms of awareness of event, in terms of basically people actually getting to understand the event and getting the value of it, it will be multiplied by tenfolds or even more.
So basically what Shannon is saying is that, we would be able to get an event to go viral, because if I've shared an interesting event on my Facebook timeline, I'm quite sure I will see some of my friends commenting about it. In fact, some may be even marking it to attend next year. And that's another good way to build buzz. This buzz can also be measured by social media measuring tools. So that again is another discussion as to how to use social media for events. But we can also look at using these elements to integrate with your own social media efforts as well. Quick look at some of the data points that we managed to collect. And to be very honest, there aren't many data points that are available today when it comes to events and mobility. But we did find that they do a lot of decision-based research is done via social networks. There is about, we can look at social media to increase awareness for an event to as much as 70%. And I'm sure if you've seen ads following you on social media, you know exactly what I'm talking about. And it is no longer an option for events, especially the B2C events, to not have social media presence. And again, we can talk about social media at events at a separate topic, but the integration of your mobility tool with your social media is something that catalogs and brochures would have never provided us with. If you just think back, if you're just doing a printed brochure and you're asking delegates to visit you, it is not integrating with the entire universe of delegates that are coming and hanging around at your event. And of course, many tweets are happening at events even before they start. I'm not just talking about concerts and marathons. I'm actually talking about B2C consumer events, which are quite popular today to have apps. And when there is the ability is given to delegates to engage on the social network via an app, at least 83% of them will engage it. So that's unutilized potential right there. You know, that's like a low-hanging fruit, as we would say, as marketers would say, to get into this whole element. And 59%, which is really, in all honesty, it's a huge number to look at. Attendees would actively post on social media through an app. I mean, these are all numbers that we cannot ignore anymore. You know, if this was 10%, I would have told you, okay, wait one more year, let habits change for more engagement. But things have happened, things have changed, things have moved up. And last but not the least, and of course, I can almost sense that we are rushing through a lot of content here. And feel free to come back to us on Twitter or on email for further discussion. But one of the things that we did with SyncPost, and we'll talk about the case study in a bit, is that we also engaged extensively via gamification. You can have, if the budget permits and if the brand is interested in engaging more with the user, you can actually gamify the entire app. So you can have, we had something which was a slot machine, which people were using as a slot machine to engage and win prizes. Of course, this is for internal events and at events where the engagement is very important. So, you know, events where you are bringing in customers. I'm sure you are familiar with how we spend a lot of money at events, you know, when we are calling celebrities, etc. Similarly, you know, if you are giving something which is an engagement element on the phone, you're also being able to distribute content regarding your brand without being overtly marketing to them. So you can develop a game around the product or service and let people experience it via the app. Of course, a lot of ideas in gamification can be done, and that's subject to further discussion where me and Shannon can actually come and talk to you. We've just picked up 3 quick case studies on what is gamification, how gamification can be done. And the reason we've picked up these three big companies is to kind of convince you that, you know, this is something that everybody is buying into. So, you know, Google had an internal gamification app where they did travel expense procedure. Travel expense, I can already hear a lot of people moaning about it. It's not the easiest element to have within an organization or to train people on, but that's they had 100% compliance when you gamified the travel expense procedure. Brainstorming, of course, if you are a soft services company, brainstorming and getting more ideas is always a challenge. Again, SAP has used it quite well to use gamification during brainstorming sessions. And Deloitte, being one of the largest consulting organizations around here, uses extensive mobile-based gamification training programs that allows them to get at least 50% completion time, in less completion time, versus standard training modules that you can do. Of course, Event to Mobile also has an HR version that is there, but we can probably talk to you guys about that in another webinar. Coming back to all our features, you know, and we've been talking about some of our standard elements, and this is at stage or level 2 maturity of the event application. Meeting the right people. I cannot stress enough about this because there are a lot of reasons that an application is helpful in helping you meet the people. Some of the large events that I see in Asia are now having a web-based module to it. Now the downside with the web-based module is that you have to either do all your meetings set up prior to coming to the event, and if there are any changes, etc., you're not being able to track it. And also it discourages any kind of spontaneous behavior. And you are also not able to answer to messages that you might be getting once you've left your desk. So that's actually good process to have, but it's quite limiting in terms of getting real value out of it, and thus making your meeting module, which is live within your mobile app, literally like a WhatsApp messenger, like an internal messaging system, is what really gives value to the end user to understand. Again, you can actually track the data of the messages being shared. You can, of course, monitor as well. You can also moderate the data, so the right usage is being done for the particular meeting management module. Of course, you don't want anybody misusing the system. The backend system for E2M provides all those features for you when you are working with this. Again, Shannon will take you through the iBeacons element. If any of you are into the retail category of events, iBeacons can be an extremely helpful deployment to do.
Okay. iBeacons is actually using Bluetooth messaging technology. What it does is it's actually geofencing. So within a geographical distance of 0.7 to 70 meters, the iBeacons is able to detect or sort of like, when the attendees or delegates were to attend an event, and we see a lot of attendees turning on their Bluetooth to maximize their event experience. And of course, organizers, they will actually, prior to the event, they will inform and encourage attendees and delegates to turn on the Bluetooth, not just to maximize the experience of getting more notifications and information during pre and post event. So when they actually turn on the Bluetooth and they step into the room or into the event space, there will be different iBeacons that will be located at different spaces within the event space. And what it does is there will be different Bluetooth messaging that will be transmitted to the attendee or delegate's smartphone. So for instance, if you are stepping into maybe near a certain booth and the booth has certain information regarding maybe for example, certain branded messaging, you'll be push notified to the phone. This in a way has many advantages. What it does is it drives more sponsors, it gets more marketers, because marketers and sponsors do want to get visibility of their messaging and they want to promote themselves, and this is the best way that they can do without having to approach all the different attendees one by one. So this is a major advantage. Of course, with iBeacons, you can have other advantages like attendee check-in. So for instance, instead of having the manual, back in the old days, you have a main registration table where there'll be people at the table manning the table, get people to to actually see whether are they registered for event and sign them in. By having such a iBeacon technology, right, when attendees step into the room, they will be automatically checked in. There will be navigation as well. So for instance, if I want to find out like how do I get to a certain space or certain area, I can actually get navigated there. And I think most importantly, beyond all the advantages, is the networking. Because I can find out exactly where I want to go, and this is something crucial. So you have a single app, event app, and there are many multiple benefits. So let's look at that. And I'll pass it on to Kavita to expand more on that area.
So we've been talking about event apps and event to mobile, and where we've been rushing you through a lot of the feature points that are there. So if you were to look at one single slide and talk about what are the benefits that an event app can give, so that you can get buy-in from your sponsor or you can buy in from the management, it would be this slide, where we've listed a single mobile platform which allows you for easy content distribution. In fact, imagine the number of changes that you go through, with the agenda and with the speakers and with the venue information, etc. You can actually do all of it as easily as editing a WordPress page, because we have a Drupal-based CMS at the back end that allows you to do it. And of course, we also have our own team that can help you update all this content. And the single thing is that, if you were to just buy event to mobile for a particular event and substitute your printing cost with the cost of the app, you would have zero cost for the app. And I've seen most events where they have a printing budget of 15 to 25,000 available there. So we will, you can just replace that with the event to mobile and go green. The relief of not having to print, I see sigh of relief when people say, okay, you don't have to print 10,000 catalogs and manage the logistics for it and distribute that. That in itself gives you a big relief point as an event manager. Of course, creating a tech-savvy image of the event is very important. That's the reason why we chose the title as why to make your 2016 event not look like it is 2010. We've stressed enough about the engagement and retention via the various meeting management tool. There is enterprise integration. If you are a large event manager, let's say you're managing an event for companies like IBM or for the bank, then you can actually look at integrating the entire app into your ECM or your CMS system. The analytics, personally, I'm a very analytics focused person, so I would actually kill to get there, get that kind of analytics that I see in most of the events, and the event buzz. So if you're from the event marketing side, you will also want to totally get the social media integration. And all said and done, once the delegates have left the venue, you still have the challenge of distributing the post-event content that is there, and you can actually do this very easily. In fact, I've seen speakers that have shared the event content right 30 minutes after their session, and that kind of instantaneous gratification, which is becoming something that many of the well-intentioned events are doing, it makes it extremely important for you to have that kind of sense, to have that kind of easy distribution concepts for your events. I'm just going to quickly answer a question that I believe someone has been talking about, is that are iBeacons available in India? No, they are not available in India, but yes, we are available in India to help you implement it. I hope that answers that question. We have an events team, event to mobile team based in Bangalore and Calcutta, and we can help you implement iBeacons rollout at events. Any more questions on that? We are more than happy to keep answering. So again, coming back to one of my favorite topics is that, why are event analytics so important? So anybody who's running events year on year, there are changes that you do at the event, so there are business decisions that you would have got based on some survey data or from perception. Now, perception is always a very weak term to go by. And of course, many events are decided on their rolling on based on the commercial data that you get out of it. But how about user data? What about which were the sessions which were popular? To give you an example, I was at this huge event in Austin last week, and they had, I think they didn't use the event analytics at any point, because there was a room which had 500 people waiting outside it, and they should have figured that it is important based on the number of people who favorited that event. And then there were rooms where there were 10 people in the entire ballroom. So they should have kind of figured this prior to the event, They should have seen that, okay, this is a popular event. There are 500 people who are favoriting this event. We definitely need to move it to a bigger venue. Or, okay, this is not so popular. Let's move it to a smaller room. And this is a huge event with 30,000 plus people. So there in itself, when I'm attending as a delegate, I could feel that disconnect or the silo that they had created with their analytics. Of course, the analytics is available for that particular element. It's very simple, but it was not utilized. And if I was an event organizer, I would love to have that, to create that seamless experience for my delegates who come on board. So you can imagine the level of dissatisfaction that you get once you are not being able to get that answer, And of course, real-time information, I can actually gauge who are moving into the keynotes. Push notifications have been a very useful analytics reactor. So if you are seeing that, it's post-lunch keynote, people are not moving into the post-lunch keynote, you can actually then really actually do something about it, rather than have people asking people to go in and talk to people to go into a room. You can actually push out messages and send them into that particular room. Of course, having said event analytics is important, event to mobile has an extensive analytical backend, and we can also customize the analytical backend based on whatever your requirements may be. A lot of questions come to us as in, a comparison point. Of course, there are other tools that are available today. And how do you choose the right one for your event? Of course, we would always tell you the right event tool is always WebSpiders' product, which is Event to Mobile. But here's a more holistic way of probably checking out which tool works for you, is that you should look at, definitely compare the features. I can safely say, having been in this industry for the last, more than last 10 years, that Event to Mobile has one of the largest range of features that you get today in an event app. Check the track record. Who are they working for? What are they working at? What is the support team like? What is the interface like? Because there's many a slip between the cup and the lip. So I can promise you the earth and the moon, but is it something that I'm being able to give you when it really matters? So that is something that we are very proud of, in the sense that we have been able to do very successful deliveries with multiple brands and clients, and we've been very happy that we've been chosen by certain brands which have given a lot of credibility to the product that we currently provide. One of the biggest advantages with Event2Mobile is that it is not a standalone product company with a few developers who are working on it. It is backed by a development team of more than 300 people from WebSpiders. So, even if it's a big rollout, we've done things in 2 weeks' time. We've completed on-site support across the globe. We do multiple integrations with CRM and ECM. In fact, currently one of our biggest rollout is happening with Wells Fargo in Charlotte in the US, where 3 of our team members are actually deployed over there to implement this particular system. Quickly run through some of our success stories. I'm sure we are now close to time. I can see a few frantic messages coming to me that time is running out, but these are important for us to tell you who we work for. I understand there are a few attendees from India as well. We do have a couple of case studies with Indian clients. I'd be happy to share them with you later. We've designed the webinar slightly more Singapore-based because the attendee base was very Singapore-oriented. No introduction needed to Singapore Post. In fact, we are currently also planning to work with the same event which is happening in April. It's a quick rollout that we did for them. It is for an internal one. This is the one where we made the slot machine game for them. And it was something that at the end of the event, the CEO of Singapore Post actually congratulated the internal team for having created or having had us do this app for them, because the photos that they got from it was something that was priceless for their internal events, something that they had not been able to do in the past. The kind of feel that they got at the event, because they were instantaneously able to share the images rather than having all that sharing happening limited to WhatsApp or other messaging tools just on the phone. Again, no introduction needed. Singtel worked on this with us, which was a completely green event where all the exhibitors were also provided with an app which we now brand under our exhibitors edition version, where we were able to generate and track all the leads for every exhibitor using the mobile app itself. So the exhibitors edition is a very interesting rollout for anybody who's running exhibitions, which are more than 50 exhibitors. Again, drop us an email. It doesn't cost anything for the organizers to deploy the exhibitors edition. The Event2Mobile team takes the entire integration on our own with our own team, and you actually can earn a percentage of sales that we do via the exhibitor edition. There's a lot more information that I can provide you. Just drop me an email about that. And a recent rollout for the WDA, which was the Food Productivity Conference. Again, the reason we chose this case study to showcase is that the Food Productivity Conference was one that had been toying with the idea of an event app for more than 2 years, and they were sitting on the fence because they were not sure whether the audience would really use a smartphone app, because they had a wide range of attendees, and that's something that we hear very often, that my delegates are not very smartphone savvy, or my delegates may not be keen to download an app. Now, this was a conference with 500 delegates. The interesting fact was that there were more than 500 downloads to the app that happened during the conference. So it was more than 100% implementation that rolled out, and that's something that is very heartening, because people really found value in the app, and that was something that the conference managers were also very pleased with. That okay, this was something that they could really go across and get everybody, whether they are savvy or not. Now, you may ask me how come it was more than 500, because people were of course downloading it on multiple devices. Even I do that. I would download a conference app both on my phone and my iPad just to use it interchangeably. So that's something that a lot of people did. We of course did both iOS and Android phones. Event2Mobile is universally available for both iOS and Android, and for the iPad version as well. And again, the fact that it was bilingual we covered both Chinese and English versions, where of course that is probably what drove engagement as well. And we encourage our clients to look at multilingual application. That can be a USP for us as well. And because you are then bringing on a whole group of people who would otherwise be alienated. And if you can see the design layout that we have done, every conference app layout, even though it runs on the Event2Mobile engine, is customized to the branding that you have. And that's something not a lot of DIY or lower priced apps actually offer. So if you liked what you heard so far, and you are interested to talk to us, one of the easiest ways to engage with our team is to join the Event2Mobile partner program. Most of the partners programs that are run are usually around sales. Our partner program is also around education, is to help you understand. We also have been part of many of our partners' pitches. We have helped develop new ideas. We also help you to provide mock-ups if you are pitching for a tender. And the good thing is that the team at Event2Mobile is very focused at a Kaizen approach. So every time we do something, we look at feedback from it and we look at how we can improve it. Like even while I've been talking to you, I've actually written 3 or 4 points of feedback that I will share with my webinar team that we should look at from next time. So of course, we also look at feedback from our own event partners and, things that they feel is a challenge. And that also works as an insight. We understand events better because we are able to see what are the insights that are coming back from user behavior. Of course, if partner event program is available on the Event2Mobile website, just can go and click on the partners link. Here's a quick update on what all we talked about. And I must thank you for your patience. I see that nobody has left the room till the end of the webinar, which is very heartening for us. Our team works hard on creating these small presentations. And if you need to see an entire demo of the product, we are also happy to set that up for you. All you need to do is just drop us an email. I'm from the Singapore, Shannon and myself are from the Singapore team. And we also have teams which are based out of London, San Francisco, and New York who are servicing clients in those regions. Of course, we have an India team as well who would be happy to address any queries that we have from Indian event organizers. I think that's about it from us, guys. If there are any other questions, I'd be happy to take them on now. Cool. I think we did a good job with the presentation, Shannon.
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for attending.
All right, guys.
Great session.
We hope to have these webinars on frequent basis. Just keep a lookout on our page, or we'll drop you an email as and when we are around for the next one. Thanks and have a great weekend, guys.